Mieczysław Moczar was a Polish communist who played a prominent role in the history of the Polish People's Republic. He is known for his ultranationalist, xenophobic and anti-Semitic attitude which influenced Polish United Workers' Party politics in the late 1960s. During this time, General Moczar and his supporters challenged Władysław Gomułka's authority. He is best known for his role in the so-called March 1968 events in Poland, in which he led the faction of hardliners inside the Communist Party. Early life. Moczar was a member of the Communist Party before World War II. During the occupation, Moczar organized communist guerrillas in the Lublin and Kielce regions. His active role in the communist underground during the resistance allowed him to become known as the leader of Poland's partisans in the 1960s. Immediately following World War II, Moczar became secret police chief in Łódź, but was dismissed from his position in 1952 on charges of nationalist deviation. During this period of widespread suspicion against the self-made communist veterans of the communist resistance, Moczar was briefly held in detention. When Władysław Gomułka returned to power as the first secretary of the Polish United Workers' Party in 1956, Moczar started to work for the Interior Ministry. In the early 1960s, Moczar served as Vice Minister of the Interior. In December 1964, he was named the Minister of the Interior, a position he maintained until 1968. Moczar's position as Minister of the Interior put him in charge of the police. When Moczar was appointed to this position in 1964, it was perceived to be a reaction to recent liberalizing trends in Poland. Gomułka, who was known for his centralist approach, was seen as trying to balance contending factions in the party and government by appointing Moczar. Moczar was known for favoring stricter police controls and discouraging Poles from all foreign contacts. According to a New York Times article from the time, General Moczar's promotion is regarded by many Poles as symbolic of the increased police activity that has occurred since the Great Liberalization at the end of the Stalinist period in 1956. Lajos Ledra, a correspondent for the London Observer, called Moczar a de Gaulle-type figure who was both an authoritarian communist and a strong Polish nationalist. A popular joke in Poland from the time period illustrates how the average citizen viewed Moczar. What do you get when you take away the Czar from Moczar? The answer is MO, which were the initials for the Polish police, Milicja Obywatelska, the partisan faction. Moczar's main power base was the Communist Party faction, called the Partisans. Most of the partisans were men in the 40s and 50s, who were veterans of the communist underground like Moczar himself. Moczar tended to play down the significance of the role of the Home Army while glorifying smaller pro-communist resistance movements. The partisans used Polish nationalism to gain support. Within the party, the enemy of the partisans was the Muscovite faction, Poles who had escaped to the Soviet Union during World War II and then returned with the Red Army. Many of the Muscovites were Polish Jews trained and supported by the Soviet Union who held important roles in the party and the secret police. During the period of Stalinist terror, Moczar took advantage of this in his campaign, and in mid-1960s, the nationalism of some of the partisans began to take on anti-Semitic tones. March 1968. When student protests erupted in March 1968, Moczar wanted to suppress them by brute force. It was widely believed that Gomułka's reliance on Moczar during the 1968 events made Moczar become too strong for safety. Moczar used the student uprising to initiate an anti-Semitic campaign, and he soon became a driving force in the 1968 purging of Jews from important party and government posts. He accused Jewish students of having instigated the demonstrations. Observers speculated two chief purposes for Moczar's anti-Semitic campaign: to clear Jews out of responsible positions so those can be filled by General Moczar's supporters, and to fix responsibility on non-Jewish leaders, probably including Mr. Gomułka, for failure to act more decisively against the Zionist infiltration. The Moczar-driven campaign of anti-Semitism caused a mass emigration of Polish Jews in 1968, most of which were government operatives and officials, as well as some distinguished doctors, professors, lawyers, engineers, etc. Gomułka vs. Moczar. In 1968, Gomułka was re-elected first secretary and thus prevented Moczar from gaining more power. Gomułka, whose wife was Jewish, began to isolate Moczar by removing anti-Semitic propagandists close to Moczar and by removing his supporters from key positions. A report from Radio Free Europe in 1971 refers to Gomułka's campaign as an attempt to democharize the security service and mass media. By 1969, Moczar was no longer Gomułka's main rival but remained a member of the Central Committee and a member of its Politburo. However, Moczar had a hand in the December 1970 shootings in Gdynia, which resulted from Grzegorz Korczynski's assessment of the situation and recommendations in the striking Gdańsk region. The bloody December strikes brought down Gomułka and replaced him with Edward Gierek, a technocrat who emphasized economic progress. The Russians, who suspected Moczar of plotting, preferred Gierek rather than an ardent nationalist communist with a lustrous wartime past. Moczar was eliminated from power by Gierek to return briefly in 1980 as a possible replacement for Stanislaw Kania when he was eased out by General Wojciech Jaruzelski. He wrote Barway Walkie, published by Krakowa Agencja Wydawnicza, ISBN 8303022466. This book is a personal memoir by General Moczar. It was made into a movie in 1965 and is viewed as an effort to strengthen the partisans, as it depicts the partisans as the spearhead of Polish resistance. Subsequent life. Moczar was a highly placed member of the Polish United Workers' Party, a member of its Central Committee from 1965 to 1981, a candidate member of the Politburo in 1968 to 1970, and full member from 1970 1971 and 1981. He was a general in the Polish People's Army and held many high-level posts in the government, serving as Minister of the Interior and Chairman of the Supreme Chamber of Control of Poland.